What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Omar BYT, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome, guys, to the second episode of the Culers Culture Show, ladies and gentlemen. Barcelona show, guys, every single Sunday, guys. Big up to every single one of you guys watching. Make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. And before we get started, guys, big up to the panelists, guys. Big up to my guy, Elias, man. Once again, you're back on Omar BYT, man. It's been a while, bro.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I know I haven't been able to tune in as frequently, but always a pleasure to be on, man. Absolutely excited for the episode tonight.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Big up to my guy Barcelona boy 103 for turning up once again, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. All is well. Hope everyone is doing well as well. Excited to talk about Barcelona.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what we're here to do, man. But big up to my guy Eunice, man. Barca React in the building. How you doing, bro?
Yo, bro, listen, I'm doing good, man. Like ultimately, we did get the job done. So, hey, listen, man, our season still on, bro, but I'm doing good, man.
Yeah, man. But big up to every single one of you guys in the chat, man. We got 12 people in the building. Big up to every one of you. Big up to you. Big up to my guy Emmanuel. Big up to Mets. Big up to every single one of you guys, man. But yeah, man. Make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe, turn on notification, and share this on our socials, guys. But listen. We're gonna get straight into it, guys. Obviously, Barcelona, we played yesterday, right, against Celta Vigo. It was a game, back in the league after, we did the job in the Champions League, even though we didn't do well in the second leg. We got to the semifinals and we were back. And listen, great performance, great comeback. At the end of the day, I was happy that we were able to bring it back. But truth be told, man, I did my match reaction right after the game, and bro, my head was hot. I'm not gonna lie. From watching the game, just watching the performance, right? Just the slow reaction, during the game, right? From the first half, the beginning of the second half, like the first 15 minutes, right? The defensive slackness, like there was no creativity in the attack until we had Danny Olmo and Yamar come on. I wasn't happy. And listen, there's two ways you can look at this performance. Let's be real, right? One way is you can look at this. You can praise the players' mentality from being 3-1 down and bringing it back and winning the game 4-3, right? But truth be told, man, it worries me. I was very worried watching that game, and maybe at the end of the day, I do want to hear what all of you guys have to say. But truth be told, man, when I saw the lineup, I wasn't happy to see Fermin start. That's the first thing. I wasn't happy to see Fermin start. I thought Lewandowski might finally get a rest, and looking back now, I guess he should have been rested. But yeah, we'll definitely get into that. But I was happy to see Yamal get rested. Right, we saw Pedri get rested during the Champions League. I was happy to see him get some rest. Right, I expected maybe Yamal to get a rest, and thankfully he was given a rest. But truth be told, guys, if I'm gonna be real, after what I saw yesterday, I can see why. I mean, we talked about this, Javier, when we did our show, when we're talking about how important Yamal is to basically our attack, right? And that's why he's always having to play every week. Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I saw it yesterday. Man. Like, the worst thing about the performance yesterday before Yamal came on is that we created nothing. We barely created anything in the attack until these two guys came on, right? And then I was sitting there watching this. I was like, bro, we are actually Yamal FC. I can't believe, like, I hate that slogan, but it's actually looking like it really is, right? We are literally Yamal and Pedri. If we lose one of those two, that's basically our season over, right? And people are giving a lot of credit to Rafinha for his equalizer and his finishing. Bro, let's be real, he had a poor game before those two goals. The two goals were his highlights. Apart from that, really, I can't really say anything else he did during the game for me, right? But I do want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm going to start with you, Elias, man. What did you
Yeah.
think of the performance? What did you think of the comeback? And what did you think of the overall game? Basically?
No, well, first I'm going to start off by saying I'm very happy that Barcelona got the victory. Of course, we didn't play well, and we haven't been playing well, I would say, necessarily for these past couple of weeks. But Barcelona have been able to choose their moments necessarily on when to perform well. You're thinking back to that victory against Borussia Dortmund in the first leg in our home stadium and everything. But overall, I'm looking at this team as very fatigued. I'm looking at this team just not having the legs necessarily, and obviously the injuries of Balde is harming Barcelona. But specifically looking at yesterday's match, as I said, I see a team that is fatigued. but I am still optimistic of what Barcelona can do for the rest of the season. Obviously, as well with the injury of Robert Lewandowski makes things a little bit more difficult. But I'm not going to be necessarily too negative on Barcelona recently, just because like at the end of the day, Barcelona, they are in the semifinals of the Champions League where we want to be, and on top of that, we are at the top of the table. I know these performances aren't great, but if you're going to be playing, basically 3 matches every single week for the past, I would say 2 months, you can't be expecting Barcelona to play brilliantly every single game. I think that what's going to be important is knowing when to manage those performances, knowing when to pick, your moments to shine and everything. And I have faith that Barcelona, they are going to find those moments and are able to get the performances that will potentially lead us for trophies.
I mean, yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I've said this before, and here's the thing. I'm not. Don't get it twisted. I'm happy that we won, right? And I praise the team for the comeback because I even said this, a few weeks ago when I was watching the Leganes game, right? I did not like the performance, but I said to myself, I said, listen, at the point that we are currently in the season, I would take any wins that we can get. You understand what I'm saying? I would take performance like this as long as we win. For me, what worried me about the game was the fact that, and this is what really triggered me. It's the fact that we were so it's the over reliance we have on some of these players who, like, with all these games that are coming up, it's worrying knowing that these guys are playing these amounts of games. You understand what I'm saying? And how
No.
this could basically affect, like, you've just seen what happened to Lewandowski. We don't know. Like, at the end of the day, Yamal is playing a lot of games. So is Pedri. So is Omo. Like, Omo is literally made out of glass. Right?
No.
He's just come back from injury. And we need him. But I mean, Hafet, what are you saying about the game, man? What did you think about the performance?
I kind of echo the same thing that we haven't been performing well probably since the Dortmund 4-0 win. Even then, a lot of our goals came from counterattacks. The Leganes game, the second leg in this game haven't been that great, but the results have been there, which kind of contradicts how we played in November, December. We were playing okay, but we weren't getting results at that time. But most important thing was getting the points in the bag. And this stuff about rotation stuff, well, I do agree. End of the day, we got 10 games left. You just gotta grind it out in my books. I don't see Flick, doing super full rotation unless we beat Mallorca and then maybe Madrid drop points to Getafe. We can maybe rotate fully against Valladolid, that game between the two entered legs. But everything is so close and there's so little left that I see him just making one or two changes every single time, every single lineup. The Lewandowski injury is a bit unfortunate. I wouldn't say he would have been a super game changer, but of course he's one of the best players in the world, definitely the best striker in the world. So missing him will be a big loss. But we've seen how Ferran Torres can adapt that position. So the downgrade will be evident, especially in hold-up play and build-up play. But hopefully in the box we can get the same output. But I think Balde and Lua will probably be returning around the same time as well. They're probably both going to try to come back for the second leg against Inter. But for the Celta game, I guess in the end, we won it last second. Madrid just won last second a few minutes ago. So I guess in the end, it all kind of balances each other out.
Nah, for real. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, Madrid didn't play well. You just mentioned it, right? But they also got the win today. And listen, it is what it is. I mean, they played at home. We weren't expecting, we were not surprised that they did get the win. At the end of the day, Bilbao held on. I was hoping that they would get, at least a draw out of them. But listen, great. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I feel like that was the only positive to come out of the game for me when we played against Celta Vigo. The performance wasn't great, but the fact that we won the game is the one thing that actually ended up, making it great for me. I mean, listen, in my match reaction, I lost it, and I'll be honest, the reason I lost is because I literally reacted right when the final whistle blew. I didn't even get like 5 minutes to cool down, analyze what I really thought of the whole game in general. I just went out because I was at work. So I said, listen, I'm just going to do the match reaction now and just upload it and just get it out of the way. And that's why I was reacting the way I was, because there were certain things in the game that I didn't like. Like, at the end of the day, there was a lot of lowlights, but it was still a great comeback. But Eunice, what did you think about the game, bro? Because I think you were echoing a lot of the things I was saying.
Yeah, bro. Listen, don't get it twisted. I'm very happy that we won the game. I'm very happy. I thought the team, feel like the team did show good mentality, down 3-1 to not quit, because I thought it was over when it was 3-1. I genuinely thought we lost at best. It's going to be 3-3, and we won the game. But the thing is, we played very bad, and I'm just disappointed by in the last 2 games. Honestly, you can include Leganes, but specifically the last 2 games, Dortmund and also Celta Vigo. I'm disappointed in some players. Like I'm actually disappointed. Like I'm questioning their overall quality. Like I think that Lamine Yamal, right? He's very good. Dani Olmo, we already know he's a game changer, but like guys like Frankie, like you can't have that big of a mistake, man. I'm sorry, but like that second goal, you can't even blame any other player. Like seriously, you actually can't blame anybody else because
I'm sorry. I have to point the finger at the defense. No. So De Jong's
but
mistake.
Frankie's the only guy he missed the ball.
De Jong's mistake cost us the goal, but bro, look, I understand we play a high line, and you guys are all open to question this, but guys, where was the defensive line for that second goal?
No, that defensive line for the second half was fucking criminal, man. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
no.
they were the defensive line. I was watching like videos from the stadium and stuff. The defensive line was in front of the half circle in the half of Leganes, and Borja was standing behind Inigo and Kubarsi. So the ball over the top was obviously putting him onside. What? Because he's not. He was so stupid as well. When Borja went through, I saw Inigo put his hand up. I'm like, you effing idiot! You're in. Everyone's in your own half. How is he? I think they just stepped up too much. Maybe they weren't aware.
Wasn't it? It was the third goal.
It was the third
I
goal.
literally saw him run from
the third goal.
He literally ran from his own box, from his own half. Went past Inigo, and Inigo was in his hand.
No, but at that point, I'm looking at just Barcelona trying to get the equalizer, and that's why they were so aggressive, that's why we conceded that.
Okay, the third goal, I hear that.
No, exactly.
No,
but
it was similar, bro.
No, the second goal was similar, but I'm with Eunice here. That's completely on Frankie de Jong. And when you look at Frankie de Jong, de Jong, he has these mistakes in him. You're thinking of the game against Dortmund where we lost 3-1. Frankie, he was very poor in that match. Time and time again, he was giving dangerous balls away. And of course, alongside Pedri, when Frankie de Jong is on it, he's absolutely fantastic. But I'm not gonna come out and say hey, these errors are not in Frankie de Jong's game, because we've been here year upon year upon year. This is Frankie de Jong. He's not going to be a guy who just is going to be absolutely perfect. And I know we're absolutely frustrated at that performance, but the reason why I'm not critical is, guys, I see this team as tired. These guys, you basically have 11 players playing every 3 days necessarily right here. I'm not even if they had.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go for it.
For cutting you off. And by the way, I agree. The second goal, you guys are talking about the third goal. I hear it. Even the whole game, the highline was horrible. It was, I don't even call it a highline. That was a suicide line, because Borja Iglesias is onside regardless if he's in his own half, right? And he has time to bro, he's onside. So why isn't at least one guy with him, and then the other two can go forward? But that's not even my point. My point is that, bro, Hansi Flick, this is where the one criticism I have of him. You didn't give Pau Victor minutes. You didn't give Ansu minutes earlier this season. Pablo Torre, you gave him some minutes, but he doesn't play anymore. So now you're relying on 11, 12, maybe 13 players max for the rest of the season. Well, if you gave some of these guys minutes and you trusted Hector for a bit more, right? You wouldn't see Koundé mad tired. That's what I'm thinking. I'm saying that is on Flick ultimately, and that's why the players are so tired now. The performances have been poor. I feel like due to fatigue. Truly, I really think that.
I mean, to be fair, I will say this about the game yesterday, right? I saw the team trying to do the things that they were doing back in the when we were in good form, when we were performing well. Right, I saw them trying to do the same things, but you just mentioned it, right? A lot of these players are fatigued. You're right. I think, am I correct in saying that Koundé has played over 100 games in all competitions? So club and
Koundé never rests. I promise we be talking about Yamal need a rest, Pedri needs to rest. Koundé never rests. He's gonna go to the next.
You have to give perspective, right? Flick said it in his press conference that if he rests Koundé's gonna go out and do a 1,000-meter run for 45 minutes. There's no point in resting Koundé.
I have a question.
I heard that.
Yeah, I seen that quote, but I don't get it, because isn't he gonna be on the bench? He's not gonna be out the squad list. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but either way, Koundé's gonna do 90 minutes of exercise some way, somehow. So Flick's perspective is might as well just play him, let him put in that performance. That way he can play during the game, then rest afterwards. Because if you don't play him, he's gonna go and do a 5,000-meter mile run at 3 a.m. So
I mean, I sort of agree with Eunice here because even though, let's say, hey, you know what, fine, you start Kunde, he start consecutive matches and everything, but let's still incorporate those fringe players into the squad because you have Hector Fort right there, who I think under Xavi, he was actually a very useful player. He came in and performed well. You're thinking back to that game against Atletico Madrid in the Wanda. He was actually very solid when he was performing, and so when you think about necessarily in Barca's situation right now, which you have Bale injured. Jeb Martin, he has his limitations. Yes, he can have some good games, but yesterday, for example, you saw the weaknesses in his game. For example, why not have a Hector Fort right there who you can say, hey, you know what? Let's say if Jeb Martin isn't performing well, or if Kunde, let's have him out there for an hour, but let's not have him for a 90. Let's incorporate some of these French players. Also, Paulo Torre, I think he's been very underutilized by Hansi Flick. I think
Very.
for
Bro,
certain, I think for
that's so true, Elias.
That's
I
the
think
worst one I think of it all. I think Pal Victor,
You see,
fair
this is
enough.
the thing.
Fair enough.
Okay, so before you go, because Hafed, I've never actually asked you about this when it comes to Pablo Torre, right? You guys have watched him, right? You've watched him, Elias, you, Eunice, and
yeah.
you too, Hafed, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Am I the only one who sees that every time this guy is on the pitch, he's literally the most energetic player on the pitch? Like
You know what it
he's
is with
literally
Pablo?
putting. What was that? What were you saying? What were you about to say?
My
There,
bad.
Hafed?
I was gonna say that with Pablo Torre, it's just that I actually feel like what's annoying about him that he has a case over Ansu and Pal Victor is that and even Hector Fort is that Pablo Torre this season, early in the season when we had so many injuries he had to play, I thought that most times he was taking his opportunity. So I was like, okay, finally, we have another guy. If Olmo gets injured, we can kind of trust this guy. We can rotate between Fermin and Torre. And my issue is that Fermin's not performing. Let's be real, guys.
But
Fermin,
that is the worst thing for me. That is
but
the
this is
worst
the
thing for
thing.
me, right? Because we've seen Fermi now start in 3 games in a row, right? So he started 3 games. And let's be real, he wasn't good for either three, right? See, here's the thing. I'm not sitting here saying that we should push Omo back to the line because I get it. He's just coming back from injury, right?
Yeah.
But you just mentioned it. The underutilizing of players like Pablo Torre. I'm sorry. I think Pablo Torre would have actually done a better job in the game yesterday against Vigo, right?
Yeah.
From what I've seen so far from him this season, right? I believe that he would have done more because, listen, Fermin has literally been so ghost in the past 3 games. It's actually ridiculous,
Well, I mean,
right?
to be fair to Fermin, even though it's necessarily like he's had his bad moments, but I will say at the same time, he's been, he's had those moments in the game, for example, where he could have won the game, by himself. You're thinking back to that game, against Dortmund. He had that chance to equalize and make it 2-2. And even then, I believe he was almost scoring a great solo goal. Who was it? Against Leganes. Yes, against Leganes. He had that like amazing run and everything where he could have really won the game by himself, And
Yeah,
I
and then
just
he
think
went
that
straight to the box and somehow missed the whole goal.
Yeah, but this
exactly.
is the thing. This is
I
this
agree. I
is
agree.
No, but I'm,
Now
I'm
hold
just saying
on.
this. I understand that
Yeah.
Fermin Lopez, he can have, his moments, but if he is able to actually finish and be composed in those situations, he's a game changer. But I completely agree with you guys. I think Fermin Lopez is suitable for some games, and I think, Apollo Torre is suitable for some other games. What my point is, and I'm reflecting what you've been saying, Eunice, is that there are some players in these Barcelona squad which I am looking at Hansi Flick and saying, hey, throughout the course of the season, could we have maybe incorporated them a little bit more into the squad? Because right now we're at the business end of the season. Gerard Martin, I'm skeptical about his performances against a Real Madrid, against an Inter. Ferran, yes, he's going to be replacing Robert Lewandowski. But if Barcelona need a goal, if we need to change something in attack, who are we going to call upon? Are you going to bring on Paul Victor and Ansu Fati who have
never
zero
played.
involvement like throughout the season? In regards to Jules Koundé, what you have Hector Fort there who can play left back and right back, which is what Barcelona they're looking at in the market. But
Mhm.
that's just things that I'm thinking, just saying, hey, Hansi Flick, he's been absolutely fantastic. I have no worries about him, but I'm just like nitpicking and just saying, hey, we could have done a little bit better in that regard.
No, what
Yeah,
I was
well,
trying to say is that my thing is just that I hear it. You're saying Fermin still had the opportunities to make the impact. I understand, but I'm saying against Dortmund, okay, I hear a more open game, but why is he starting versus Celta and Leganes. Like, I don't think he's, no offense to Fermin, I think he's a solid player. He's got qualities of goal scoring. He does the box crashing, goal scoring midfielder type of thing. But Torre and Fermin, the gap's not crazy, in my opinion. I don't think it's crazy. I think it's like this compared to like a large gap. I really do. I think that Torre, his performance against Villarreal, I don't know if you guys remember. Remember his assist to Robert Lewandowski? I don't know if you guys remember it off the top of your head. I don't think Fermin makes that pass. That pass was a disguised pass, right? A lot of players in the area, right? And I'm not saying Torre is a world beater, but I think he's a good option, bro. That's my point.
You're comparing two different midfielders. Like me comparing Lamine Yamal with Rafinha. It's two different wide forwards. Rafinha is a wide forward that comes inside, that plays off the left. He's inverted a lot to attack the spaces, while Lamine holds the width. He's more of a natural 1v1. You're comparing an 8 with a 10. I understand your point of view. Look, I rate Pablo Torre a lot. We've always had this player midfielder that the fans love that gets no minute. We've had Pablo Torre, Ricky Push, Carlos Adina. These midfielders have always been, a consistent thing at Barcelona. I do rate Torre. I think he should be playing more. But to say that he'd be playing in the 10 ahead of Fermin, I think it's a bit far-fetched. We've seen Fermin, of course, improve a lot. Like Kule Podcast said, he had some good cameos where he had, opportunities to get into space and get chances. I've rated him in the past few games very, very low. I don't think he's been great, but I think playing Pablo Torre in the 10 doesn't make sense. I think Flick would much rather put Pedri in the 10 and then Pablo Torre in the 8, or Gavi in the 10 than Pablo Torre in the 8. Because Pablo Torre is more of a controller midfielder who looks and finds space, like you mentioned, finding good passes to Lewandowski and find assists. Yeah. The role of the 10 is to get stuck into space, complete, final passes, final actions, and get goals. That's why Dani Olmo is so good at it, and we saw his impact off the bench in the second half against Celta too. So,
but don't you agree, like, that he should just, like, in general, should be playing more?
Of course. But I think, like I mentioned at the beginning, we're at a point in the season now. There's 9 games left. The Fringe players are, lacking a lot of rhythm and match minutes, like Hector Ford, Pau Victor, Pablo Torre. They're gonna be so rusty that Flick probably doesn't see it necessarily. That's why you see the same stuff all the time. Eric Garcia, Gavi coming in, Fernando off the bench when he doesn't start. Maybe get one of the 3, maybe get some minutes. Without Ansu, of course, get 10 minutes against Dortmund. His only 10 minutes in the entire 2025. So these kind of Fringe players.
The best throw was the last time he played.
Yeah, the Fringe players at this point, they're only going to come in for injuries. So that's why now with Lewandowski out injured, maybe we'll see Ansu Fati a bit more. We'll see Pau Victor a bit more. But I think Flick's reached a point now he's going to trust his, 15, 16 core players and just grind it out for the rest of the season. There's really no implications, and plus all these Fringe players that we're talking about are probably going to leave in the summer anyways. So
yeah, I agree with that. By the way, that I think that honestly at this point of the season, just grind it out, thug it out, whatever you do, because we have to.
I don't have an issue. Here's the thing: I don't have an issue with that. I don't even have an issue with him playing the same lineup every game for the next few games of the season, right? But if you look at how basically La Liga have basically shafted us with the games, right? We're literally having to play every single 3 days. You understand what I'm saying, right? So, and you've seen it. Like, I was doing a literal reaction to the press conference against Celta Vigo, right? Did you see Hansi Flick's face? Like, you can tell this guy has just gotten to a point where he's just at the verge of snapping, right? He even said, I really need to talk to the people that do the scheduling, because we don't understand why the schedules are so ridiculously, close, right? And also, I think he was complaining about the time of the game as well, because we did play early. It was an early kickoff. You understand what I'm saying? So, listen, all of that is true. And listen, as far as what Mez is saying here, look, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if you guys saw it. Was it the second or the third goal? I could have sworn I saw Hansi Flick screaming at his back line, asking why they were so high.
You should be screaming at them while the action is still taking place, because before the clearance happened, you should be telling them the whole time. If you watch the video, I'm gonna tweet the video soon. If you watch the video, Frankie de Jong yells at Kubarsi and Indigo, saying, "Why the hell are you guys right beside me?" Because Frankie was in his position in the lone 6, but Indigo and Kubarsi were right beside him as well. So them two were out of position. That's why Borja was in front of them, absolutely free as day, and quite stupid for Indigo to put his hand up when he's 5,000 meters in his own half.
On Twitter, didn't you? Because you were saying that their danger man is flipping Borja.
Barcelona's kryptonite, since I've been watching the club now for 15, 20 years, our kryptonite is always the target man striker. Adariz, Iglesias, Gurasi, Lorente, whoever it may be.
Torloth.
Lord, Adili, remember him?
Any striker that's a good finisher and is at 6'7" and it can head the ball will always be at our disadvantage. Why? Because we have
We're about to play in Mallorca.
no, Mauritius injured, thank God, so we should be
Oh,
okay.
thank God, yo,
Oh my
that's a
God,
big one.
So the reason why these strikers do well against Barcelona is because Barcelona center backs are always more tactical, maybe a bit shorter, so that's why we always get bullied. And you'll see a lot of that with Barcelona in the future as well. And that's why thank God Inter don't have Dzeko. If they had Dzeko, I would say we did not.
Dzeko, Adouris,
wait,
you think about the performances that he put in.
Do they have what's his name? Taremi, because that guy is an
Who?
that guy's a problem. Taremi, man.
Nah, he's short, man. He's just a decent striker. He's not someone that I'm worried about. I'm worried about again that striker that's
close against us, bro. I would be fuming.
yeah. If we had a striker that's above 6'4" coming up against it, that has technique, that can head the ball, and of course has to finish, it's always our kryptonite. So it's not hard to predict at this point. Even Pavlovic, the Greek striker that scored the hat trick against us with Benfica, he's again fits the same mold. Although his hat trick was a bit jammy, 2 open nets and a penalty, but it's always been kind of Barcelona's kryptonite when it comes to defense.
Yeah, it's the worst thing. And that is why, bro, I'm not going to lie. That is what really, honestly, made me so angry yesterday. It's just the goals we considered were just so easy. I'm not going to lie. It was like the first goal, let's be real, Chesney. Like you've had an amazing season, right? You've been saving us in games, bro. What happened there? You understand what I'm saying? For that goal, that equalizer. And then, like you just mentioned, for me, I don't blame De Jong for going at his defenders. Like, bro, just because we're trying to get an equalizer doesn't mean you guys are not playing in the field. Why are you guys literally that high? And remember, I think it came from a corner kick. Was it a corner kick that was cleared?
We had the ball.
No, we had the ball, and then I think Alonso just randomly booted it up, and Iglesias was through.
That's the thing. That's the thing with me. I feel like that the goals that we conceded against Celta were so bad. Like at least like in the Dortmund game, they had to kind of work for their goals. Like versus Celta, it was horrible defending. Borja Iglesias has so much time to score. Like it's ridiculous. It's like practice. It's like training at that.
Because again, that's because of the high line. The high line was so deep that he had so much time, space, and effort to go through on goal. That's
what I'm trying to say. It's just ridiculous defending. But I do want to say this also, right? Because a lot of Barca fans, right, they're giving Olmo credit, but I feel like this guy deserves credit. I feel like that when he's in the lineup, bro, he just changes the game. How many times
he changed the game? I know people are giving credit to Yamal, but for me, Dani Olmo, his presence in that, when he came in that 10, bro, the whole tempo of our attack changed. Like he scored the second goal. He came in, scored the second goal, right? And he was literally a menace. And listen, like you just mentioned in Hafed, right? This guy just literally says we're letting guys like Iglesias, Godasi, Pavlidis, and Sola. Like that's the thing. That is our kryptonite. It's true. Like we don't do well with like these, old-fashioned number 9s. You know what I mean, right? The finishers, the actual like target men. You know what I mean? Those guys who, they're not fancy, but they know where the back of the net is. And bro, when he went for that one-on-one, I knew he was like that third goal, that one-on-one. You saw him like running, and he's so slow. And he looked like he was running forever, bro.
The finish for the second goal was quite nasty. I'm not gonna lie. I saw him looking left here. I think he wanted to go for the FIFA sweat, and the sweat was null. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna shoot this. And it was a great finish, to be fair to him. The second goal.
Bro. The only thing that's good, honestly, the only thing that was good about Celta Vigo, Oscar Mingueza, big miss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
hopefully
also,
missed it on purpose.
But also, can I just mention this as well? Credit to what's his name? I mean, I know he's no longer a player, but Ilash Moriba actually did well in the midfield.
He played well.
I think he was actually the best midfielder in the game. I'm not even gonna lie. He actually bust us in the midfield, which is crazy to think, right? When I was watching the game yesterday, I was like, bro, what could have been? What could have been? Because dude, you had it all. You could have literally been in our midfield. Like we would have loved to. Like imagine he would have been playing in this midfield right now. You understand what I'm saying? The energy that he would bring to our midfield, right? But yeah, man, listen, that's what happens when you don't have good people around you, man. That's it, really. Listen, I do actually want to talk about this. Big up to Star Making say he was talking about Hector Ford being angry. Let's actually talk about this because a lot of the Fringe players you just mentioned, Hafed, we're not actually happy. Like you've seen that footage that's gone viral on Twitter, right?
I've seen them all.
Ansu Fati's
the thing is that if these French players are going to be upset, that's fine. But when you get your minutes, you have to take the advantage of it. You can't, cry that you're on the bench and cry that you get subbed off, and you come on the bench and you drop a stinker. Like Fermin, we all said here Fermin has been poor over the past few games, rightfully so. He comes off the bench complaining and crying. Why? You've been very, very mid. You're missing big chances. You're losing the ball. Your touch was, oh my god, his touch against Dortmund and against Celta Vigo was absolutely horrendous. Could never control the ball to save his life. And he goes off the pitch crying. I'm like, what's the point with that? Of course, Ferran Torres yesterday, rightfully so. I thought he was probably the best player up until that point for Barcelona before he got subbed off.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah, I
Olmo,
know,
of course,
right?
let me come
He
in.
was better than he was better than Rafinha for me before Rafinha.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yes,
know
yeah.
Rafinha was playing quite well on the right hand side. I still think Fred had overall a better game too. So he has, rightfully be upset. But now since Lewandowski is injured, he's gonna start every single big game now. He's gonna start both classicals and both inter games. So he needs to lock in and again put your complaint where your mouth is. But then these other players like Ansu and Ford who don't get minutes regardless. I mean, it's nice to see that they care. It's nice to see that there's a bit of motivation there, and I kind of agree. I'm beyond baffled that Ford did not come on. Yesterday I thought both fullbacks were so poor. You could have bought them on the right hand side or left hand side. I thought Kunde and John Martin were disgustingly bad yesterday, so that was a bit disappointing as well. But maybe again, it comes down to the player not having the rhythm and the sharpness. Come onto a game where we're chasing it and stuff like that. So I think if we're like in December, January, February, we have a bit more of an argument. But like I said, we have like 9 games left. It's hard to make a case for these French players, unfortunately.
It's gonna it's gonna
But
be
this
tough,
is the
man.
last thing I'm gonna. This is the last thing I'm actually gonna say before we actually continue with that point, right? Because here's the thing, guys. I don't know. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's just one. But I've always noticed something with our team, and this actually ties into not only the game yesterday, but the game against Dortmund, right? I don't know if you guys notice it, right? And this has been something that is like a tendency of Barcelona. Our tendency to be complacent when we are actually in a good place as far as the club is concerned, right? Listen to this point. When we played in the first leg against Dortmund, we had a 4-goal lead. I was like, listen, 4 goals, we can screw this up. I even said it here with Chess last week when we started the show, right? I was not worried about that game. Even if they won, they're not going to bring it back. We will get a goal over there, right? For me, what really hurt me about the game against Dortmund is just how we weren't even trying to, like, I don't know, just hold on to the ball or maybe like to hit them on the count or, just do something just to give them something to worry about just so that they can know that, okay, well, listen, you guys can go forward, but just know if you go forward, we will kill you on the counter. You understand what I'm saying, right? We were just passing it here, passing it there, losing the ball. You guys like De Jong losing the ball, getting hit on the counter. We're hoping that the referee put his flag up for offside. I was literally so disappointed with that. Was what disappointed me about that game because I was like, this reminds me so much of what I've been seeing last season when we played against PSG. You understand what I'm saying? The same thing I saw when we played against Liverpool in 2019 when we had a 3-goal lead. Just thinking that the tie was over. Against Roma, you just saw the PTSD. If you're a Barca fan who's witnessed those things.
I thought today we were going to bottle it, to be honest. I'm like, oh my God, yeah. They scored early in the second half. I'm like, yeah, we're going to bottle it, aren't we?
Barca boy, I promise you, brother. The PTSD. It's like being in war, bro. You just, when you hear a popping sound and you just start getting up. That was me. When he scored that second goal, bro.
I never celebrated a losing goal more in my life, to be honest.
Yeah. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, guys. Yo, Omar, bro, that own goal. Oh my God,
no,
Barca.
forget the own goal. I'm not even talking about the own goal. I'm talking about their goal when Guirassy scored the second.
No,
Brother,
I'm saying
remember he scored the goal literally at the start of the second half.
Yeah.
Now they were 2-0 up, so they had 2 more goals, bro. I was like, brother, I cannot deal. In my head, I'm just like, brother, I cannot deal with this. Please.
I
can't do it, right?
I thought we were
I
gonna
beg
bottle it.
you guys, bro. I suffered too much humiliation.
This is why I told you, Omar. What did I tell you in the show that we did? I think by ourselves, when the Amal scored that 4th goal against Dortmund, that gave me a lot of flashbacks to Dembele against Liverpool. And I said, since he scored that for me was like guaranteed. And now we look at it, how the second leg went. That goal was so vital because he didn't score that 3.
That's a
And I wanted
huge,
the 3-0, you know. Imagine if oh my God. Bro, when I'm not gonna lie, I missed because I went to pray, right? But I missed the goal that we scored, the Firmino own goal. When I came back and I saw that we scored, I was like, oh my God, we're actually gonna go through.
That's what wasn't even when they scored the 3rd goal, when Gracia got his hat trick, I wasn't too nervous. I said, okay, I mean, we've been playing okay.
I was a little bit, but I knew they weren't gonna come back. I was like, nah, they're not gonna score 2 goals. I'm secured now knowing that we have a goal. Because that's all I wanted. I was like, listen, get a goal, and even if you lose, then we will lose like 2-1 or 3. 2-1, just a respectful defeat. I'll take it. But this is the problem. This is why the game against Inter And as I know Inter lost today. People were telling me, a lot of people were just sending me this on my Discord. Like, oh, Omar, Inter lost, Inter lost, Inter lost. I'm like, bro, I don't care. This is Inter. Like, they don't have to play well to beat us. They didn't play well against Bayern to beat them. You understand what I'm saying, right? Do you know what they're going to do? They're going to do the one thing that Barcelona hate. They're going to come in, be defensively compact, completely frustrate the hell out of us in that first leg. And if we somehow, let's say, leave with like a 2-1 lead or 1-goal lead, and we're thinking, all right, we go to the second leg with a lead, they're just going to come out and just absolutely kill us on the counter or something crazy.
You know what it is, Omar? I feel like you're right. Inter is a bad matchup. But no, back to the Dortmund game real quick. When we scored our goal, the own goal, right? I genuinely thought, yo, we caught life, bro. Like, the prayers have been answered, bro. Like, I genuinely thought that in the moment, I was like, this might go extra time because Dortmund were playing so good, but I feel like it was because we were playing so bad, honestly. You know, like we were talking about how Frankie kept losing the ball. Obviously, Fermin was not clinical, right? So many guys were bad. So many guys were off it. And that's why, and like my match reaction, I was like, why do you guys choose this date? And honestly, I don't even think it was they choose the date. I thought that it was a mentality thing that prior to the game that they're like, we're through to the next round. But I was like, it doesn't make sense. You guys respectfully, right? I love this squad, but this is the thing. You guys haven't proven anything in Europe. This is the truth. So how can you have the right in the second leg to not play at your best? You can't go 90%. You have to go.
What worries me, guys? You know what worries me more than anything else? Is that it's not just these players that have done this. This is like something that is affected. Like ever since we beat PSG, I feel like ever since we beat PSG in 2017 with that comeback, bro, the footballing gods have just been making us suffer, bro, in European football. Like, bro, I literally said this is even the game against Inter. I've said the only way I'm gonna celebrate anything or think that we have any hope of being in the final is if we beat them 3-0. That is the only way I'm actually gonna sit there and say, you know what? Maybe in the second leg we can actually make it. You feel me, right? Because maybe they'll get 2 goals and then we'll be fine. But if we get a 2-goal lead, we'll screw it up. I just know these guys will screw it up somehow.
I don't
They'll
know.
shoot themselves in the foot, man. I don't pray it, bro. I really hope. Like, don't get it twisted, man. 10 years ago, we won our last Champions League. I want to win this Champions League. But, yo, sometimes this team frustrates me. Like, watching Barcelona for 90 minutes, people don't understand, right? People who don't watch Barca, they always see us winning the way we're winning, and they think it's always that great. Well, because we actually watch the games 90 minutes. They don't realize the roller coaster that we actually have to go through as fans watching Barca sometimes. You understand what I'm saying? But I mean, listen, Elias, what did you think of the game when Dortmund in the second leg when they got the second goal? Were you also from?
I mean, what's it called? Obviously, when we can see the goals, like you're thinking, oh my god, is it gonna happen again? But genuinely, like I wasn't feeling necessarily like particularly nervous of a Borussia Dortmund comeback because I just didn't imagine Barcelona conceding 5 goals. You know, I think Barcelona getting that 4th goal was absolutely vital. And of course, when Fermin Lopez, he crossed that ball and it became an own goal. I was thinking, okay, you know, but Barcelona, they are through. Obviously, we made it tense. We made it more difficult than it had to be. But at the end of the day, you know, Barcelona got the job done and they advanced. And, you know, of course, we said the performances haven't been great. But genuinely, you know, in the year 2025, you know, that's been our only loss of the year so far, you know. And so if Barcelona, they were to lose a match, that would be the match. And, you know, these guys have been performing absolutely great, you know, for the entire year.
That wasn't my problem. Because I said, didn't I literally say it on the premiere of the show? I literally said we were going to lose this the second leg. I can see us losing 2-1.
But like you said, you know, if you're going to lose one game out of all the games we have from now to the end season, it's Dortmund's second leg, especially after beating them 4-0 in the first leg. It is like the bogey game, and all the players said that after the game as well. I love that. I love seeing that because, of course, they didn't like huddle up and say, "Oh, let's all say it." This is all their own thought process, right? So that's a very good sign. We almost had back-to-back losses though, so you can't forget that. We almost, you know, choked the Celta. So
yeah, basically.
We gotta lock in these next 5 games, man. The next 5 games is what's gonna decide the season, essentially.
I mean, absolutely, it's definitely gonna be tough. I mean, Mallorca. I mean, how are Mallorca doing so far?
Mallorca are a very, very good team. but they
Yeah.
have 6 out of their 11 starting players out injured or suspended for this game.
I believe that they're
Oh,
what like trying to fight for European spots or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
they
so
were, they were.
they're basically in the same area as Celta. They're like 6, 7. They're fighting for
yeah.
European spots, like the
But
conference
the
league.
fact is, like,
Now that La Liga has 5 Champions League spots, there's going to be more European spots coming forward. But like I said, they got 6 of their starting players out injured and suspended for this game, which is huge, obviously.
I'm asking you guys right here. How would you guys necessarily manage that game against Mallorca? Because obviously next weekend is the big game against Real Madrid, and I think that game against Real Madrid is going to dictate how Barcelona are going to do in the Champions League. Because Barcelona, they're one of those teams that are very momentum based. If Barcelona they're doing well, they're doing really well. But if we lose, we can lose bad. It can be, where Barcelona, if we win on, next weekend, where we can win the games against Inter and the El Clasico. But I can see if Barcelona lose that final at the same time, we can potentially be knocked out. I see Barcelona in that sort of instance, and so like I asked you guys, how would you guys necessarily manage the game, against Mallorca? Will you rotate a little bit, or
No,
how do
you
see
gotta go
this?
full strength. It's a weak team. It's already a weak Mallorca team. They're already a good team. You have to remember, Aristante is a very, very good manager. He's the manager that, of course, coached Osasuna over the past few years. Got into the Super Cup, got into the Copa del Rey final as well. Very, very good manager. I think this is his first season with Mallorca making that big move. Very, very good team, Mallorca. But like I said, thankfully they have 6 of their starting players out. The most important thing for me is that Madrid, of course, play on Wednesday. They play away at Getafe, which against in Madrid is not too much of a travel time.
Oh,
We all know.
wow.
We
That's
all
actually
know.
good.
We all know how tough. But the thing is, right? Getafe is tough for us because of our style of play. It won't be that tough for Madrid. It's just going to be a tight game for them. I think the Copa del Rey final, of course, has a lot of impact on us in terms of confidence. But we've seen us lose Copa del Rey finals over the past few years and then go on to win it. Under Pep, I know this is Pep and we had Messi and stuff like that. But just for context reason, in 2011 when we had Madrid in the semifinal of the Champions League, we had, of course, the Copa del Rey final beforehand.
Yeah,
We lost it 1-0. Ronaldo header, of course, in extra time. We then went on and beat Madrid over 2 legs in the semifinal, and then won the league and won the Champions League. So it's been done before, but with this Copa del Rey final being, they pushed it back a month early. I don't know why they did that. I think it's really stupid.
Yeah,
It kills the vibe for me a little bit, but I think it will have it because, like, remember what Flick said. I think he said this after Leganes game. Winning the Super Cup is what gave us this big push. Winning the Super Cup is what gave us the feeling, the confidence, and the belief back. Because, of course, in that December, November period, like we mentioned, we're playing well.
Exactly, yeah,
We weren't getting results. Atletico Madrid game when we lost 2-1 on my birthday, we absolutely battered them from minute 1 to minute 90 and lost. And he said the Super Cup is what gave this team the extra fight, the confidence, and more importantly, the belief in the system and style of play. The Copa del Rey final will have maybe a bit of difference because now it's been 4 months. The team already clearly has belief in the style of play. They have confidence in themselves. They know that they're the best team in the world. One game against Madrid, I don't think will have too much of an impact. It could be, of course, a head drop. There's already reports coming out saying that Barcelona are not going to celebrate this Copa del Rey. They're going to win it, celebrate on the night, and move on. They're going to basically treat it like a Super Cup because it's so congested in the schedule. So I feel like a loss by like a goal or an extra time or penalties will not impact the team too much. I think the team just has too much belief in themselves already at this point in the season. But of course, winning it will give you so much wonder, especially with Inter having a tough schedule as well. I think they have their Super Cup, the Coppa Italia second leg at that point too. So
And also,
I mean,
see, here's the thing. I do agree with what you just said, Hafid, right? Everything you just mentioned there, right? I'm gonna be very honest, right? Just like how you mentioned the Super Cup was very integral to why what boosted these players to basically play as well as we did in the second half of the season to be where we are, right, in the table, in the Champions League, how we're doing, and the Copa del Rey final. Do you think that winning the Copa del Rey itself could give these players the boost to basically secure the league title, or maybe give them the boost to basically get the Champions League done and maybe complete the treble? Do you think that if they win it?
I think winning it will affect more Madrid than us because this is Madrid's kind of last dance to stop the treble from us to win a trophy this season. I feel like that will have more implication on the League Clasico than it will on Barcelona's form going into the Inter doubleheader. And remember, right, Inter, yes, I think stylistically they're kind of the worst matchup for us based on how they play, but we almost beat them twice back in 2022 with our worst team at the time. Piqué and Alonso starting at center backs. You had no Pedri in the midfield. You had Ansu Fati starting during that time as well. So we almost beat Inter, and their team is basically the same as well. They've of course added Thuram. I think the other time they had Dzeko as their second striker beside Lautaro. Now they have Thuram, who they signed on the free, I think, the season afterwards. So
Oh yeah,
the
by the
core,
way, guys, you saw this chat right here. Don't forget, they actually have Anatovic, who, by the way,
he's not a target striker. He's not a
actually,
target man striker. He's again like
He doesn't really play much
Taremi.
either. That's the thing. He doesn't really play.
but he's been playing
No, he,
recently
he,
a
he,
lot.
he does get a decent. He gets more minutes than Taremi. I think he's kind of the third choice after Thuram and Lautaro. But Arnautovic is not like a target man striker. He's just a good striker in the box. He's not someone that I would worry about in terms of that kryptonite that Barcelona have. But the Inter is a team that again a lot of these core players have already faced. They've been to San Siro. They had the doubleheader against Inter. They know what it's like to lose to them. They know their style of play as well. So of course on the flip side, Inter know this kind of Barca team as well because we kind of stayed the same as well since then. We just changed our approach a bit more. So it'll be interesting to see how things do turn out. But I think again, the Copa del Rey final, I think will affect more Madrid in this scenario than Barcelona, just based on where we're at, the league table, congestion, Champions League semi-final as well.
Yeah.
That's 100%. I mean, what did you want to add something, Eunice?
Yeah, no, I think this Copa del Rey final. I think that honestly, I think the players will be confident. I'm guaranteeing right now. I think the players, they're gonna show up at least with intensity because the two times that we played Real Madrid, I love the energy that we played with. I think that the fact that it's Real Madrid also, they're gonna bring everything. We just have to be clinical. That's truly what I think. I think that this Mallorca game is very tricky though. It's very tricky, this Mallorca game, because it's a game where we cannot drop points. Like as much as I'm happy we beat Celta. Let's just say we drew with Celta and Real Madrid won, right, against Bilbao, like they ended up winning. It would have been a 2-point gap, right? And then now we're looking at it like, the La Liga title race, if Real Madrid win that La Liga El Clasico, now they're in front. Like, that's the thing with La Liga. Although a lot of people are saying it might be over, I don't think it's over yet until it's a 6-point, 7-point gap yet. You know what I'm saying, guys? That's why I feel like it's my rookie game. You initially said, like, would you start? I would start the starters. I would. I honestly would. I'm not going to lie. But I don't know if you guys agree with
So Elias, how would you approach the game? Do you think that he should go full throttle or maybe just bench a few players?
No. I'm looking at those games and I'm thinking like, of course the La Liga isn't done, but I'm making some rotations. I just see, these players and the way that we're performing. I just think we need like some fresh legs, in some way or another. I'm looking at maybe starting a Gavi. Maybe looking at starting. See, that's the thing. I don't know at what level Hector Fort is at. I would have loved to be able to count on him. I'd maybe start Eric Garcia potentially. Or rest. I wouldn't make too many crazy rotations or anything like that. I'd maybe rest one or two players and everything, because obviously we have the game in the weekend and everything. But I do think that we need to protect our players because you just look at, for example, necessarily, this injury that Robert Lewandowski, he sustained. If Robert Lewandowski was just, subbed out, a little bit earlier in multiple in these games, maybe at the 70th, 80th minute, then, Robert Lewandowski potentially not been injured. He's 36, he's been playing a tons of minutes. And so in order to necessarily keep the squad a little bit fresh and everything, and in order to have these great performances that we want to have, I do think you need to count on some of those players, but not make any too like crazy rotations. As you guys have said, the league still isn't over, and we need to get the 3 points.
Yeah, it's like 5 points, right? Is it 5 points between us and Madrid?
Four.
I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's like being stuck between a rock and a hard place. Let's be honest, right? When it comes to Hansi Flick, right? Because he wants the league title. Like, don't get it twisted. I think he wants to win all the trophies. That's the thing.
No.
I want him. Believe he wants to win the Copa del Rey. I believe he wants to secure the league title. He wants to win the Champions League too. But we are in a position now where we're too close. The title race is way too close, right? There's a Copa del Rey final coming literally very soon. Not to mention the crunch games of the season are ridiculous. Like the amount of like tough games that we have at the end of the season are ridiculous. Compare that to the fact that we have to play an intense game in the semifinals against Inter Milan, which will be an intense game. And listen, it's gonna be very, very, very tough, man. Like, and bro, I'm not gonna lie, this worry. I mean, as far as the Lewandowski injury, apparently from what we're hearing, they're saying 3 weeks. So that means he's basically out for the final. And I guess out of the 2 games of the Champions League. That's big. Like,
That's very big.
That is huge because here's the thing. whatever you say about Lewandowski, you can talk about his
Yeah.
age, you can talk about everything else, right? And there's a lot of things you can say about Lewandowski. However, this is what I will say about Lewandowski, guys. His finishing, despite losing everything else he's lost, his pace, everything else, his power, his finishing hasn't gone. The guy still knows where the back of the net is. When he has the ball in the box and he shoots, he scores. Right? The thing with Ferran Torres is this. Ferran Torres is great when he comes off the bench. I like Ferran Torres as a striker coming off the bench. He brings something different. The energy he brings. That's why he usually plays so well. He's at his best
Yeah.
when he comes in after when Lewandowski is benched, right? Or in games where when Lewandowski plays in the Champions League, he's back in the league, starts in the league, right? That's what disappointed me about his injury. I even said it. Look, I said this on Twitter. I was like, listen, you make stupid mistakes, you get what you deserve. At the end of the day, Hansi Flick shouldn't have started Lewandowski in that game. I'm sorry. He started 3 games in a row, right?
And
I
Omar,
think that
he's going for the Pichichi, and Mbappe has a red card. And again, they've already had an agreement that Lewandowski was going to be. I low-key don't think that Lewandowski was going to start the Copa del Rey final, whether he's fit or not, because he's not started any of the Copa del Rey games this season at all. He told Flick very clear that he just wants to start in the league and the Champions League. They kind of reached an agreement there, but Lewandowski is going for the Pichichi with Mbappe having a red card. He was going to start that game regardless. I just think that in the end, it was just a bit unlucky. I think, to be fair, Flick has managed Lewandowski quite well this season. Not only was he rested in some in all the Copa del Rey games, but also in some La Liga games as well. So I just think it's a bit unlucky. Same with the Balde one as well. I think Balde was rested the game before Dortmund. What was that? Osasuna, I think it was. Because I remember Balde came back and played. What was the game between Osasuna and Dortmund? Because
first leg or second leg?
First leg. There's a game between Osasuna,
it was
the weekend game. Girona. I don't think Balde started that game. And we're all like, what? He had the whole international break off, and then he rested him out of nowhere. So he's managed, I think, the minutes quite well for those players that have maybe little niggles, a little bit of injury prone into them. I just think it's just a bit unlucky, just more so to how many games we played this season, which is not really based on La Liga. It's more based on the 2 extra games of the Champions League, congestion the schedule all into 8 months, the Club World Cup being in June as well. I mean, you feel bad for the Madrid players. They played this whole huge season full of games apart from 2. I know they're a problem, but, I'm just putting it into retrospect. They played every game like us except for 2 Champions League semifinals. We'll wait and see if we play the final or not. And they got to play a whole entire tournament in the summer as well. So, and they get no break. I think like only 10-day break, something like that. So
I think because they're playing the Club World Cup, that means they don't need preseason, do they? Basically,
I think that is their preseason. I've heard.
Depends, I guess, how far they go, really.
I mean, yeah. Hey, listen, man. If they get beaten by Al Hilal, I'll be here for it.
They're minimum playing 3 more games. And I believe it's like the group stage where they're going to be playing 3 games, and then from there on, depending how they do, they're going to be advancing and everything. But it's most likely they're going to be going at least semi deep into the competition.
It's like a Euro. It's like a summer tournament for them, like a World Cup.
Yeah, exactly, precisely.
It's basically a World Cup. Right. Hey, listen, man. Big up to everyone. We got like 35 people in here, man. I think this is like the highest people I've had, like without like being raided or like somebody coming to raid my channel. This is like the highest people who like. Big up to every single one of you guys, man. Big up. Make sure you guys smash the likes and make sure you guys go subscribe to all of these guys: Culers Podcast, Barça Boy, and Barça React. And look, but here's the thing. Also, I do want to say, right? See, my issue with Lewandowski's injury is as much as Ferran Torres, he does his job. And listen, I'm gonna be very honest, man. I wasn't a fan of Ferran Torres. I wanted Ferran Torres sold during the summer, right? I was done with this guy, right? However, I will say this: under Hansi Flick, he's really shown his usefulness. You understand what I'm saying? Right? He's definitely been useful in games. His performances off the bench should be commended, even in games where he has started. I actually like the fact that when Hansi Flick has actually entrusted him to start in certain games, he's turned up. You remember the Copa del Rey semi-final, just mentioned it, all right? The second leg, right? Hansi Flick trusted Ferran Torres to start over Lewandowski, and Ferran Torres scored the winner in that game. You understand what I'm saying? Right?
Yep.
Even like that for me, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say even games like Real Betis. Remember the 5-1? He played very good. I'm pretty sure he got a goal. He had a game against Mallorca. This was early in the season. Hansi Flick it's like every 4 games. You know what I'm saying? He'll just throw in Ferran for a start or something like that. And I like that. If Lewandowski, let's say hypothetically we don't get a striker in the summer. You know what? Having Ferran start a bit more game, maybe 10% more games, is not really a problem. Ferran under Flick specifically has been good, right? Flick has transformed a lot of these players, right? The only, like I said, I give Hansi Flick a lot of credit. I give Hansi Flick a lot of credit. Ultimately, we're complaining about a situation that is good. Ultimately, we're playing too many games. Why? Because we're potentially on for a treble, right? Barcelona in the last couple of years, we were not complaining like this. In this situation, we have a semifinal versus Inter, right? This is the only
Yeah.
criticism I had with Flick was some of the cast outs should have been playing more a bit earlier prior to this part of the season because now they're out of rhythm. Like I think Barca Boy said, now you can't really trust.
So to your question, right? Can I ask you all this? Even though yes, we know guys like Ansu Fati are not part of his future, right? And that's fine. Like you don't have to be like you have your plans, you have your players. That's all good, right? But do you guys think because his squad was so short, right? He was so short in players, right? He should have maybe trusted those French players a little bit more than he did. Do you guys think so?
I'm gonna respond and like give it first, and then we can hear the opinions of the others. But I'm thinking necessarily of those games necessarily where just Barcelona are blowing these other teams, out of the park. I'm thinking that 7-0 against Valladolid. I'm looking at some of the 4-0 performances that Barcelona they've had throughout the season. I'm thinking in those type of games, instead of bringing on players who have been playing throughout the season, why not incorporate a Paulo Torre, a Hector Four, a Pau Victor a little bit more because when towards the end of the season, these minutes that these guys have been playing, throughout the season, it is going to play a factor. These guys can contribute here and there, and even if necessarily say they don't perform, just the ability to rest your key starters, that's valuable in itself. And you want to have your starters be ready, to be able to play at 100% in these key deciding games of the end of the season. But obviously Hansi Flick, he had a short squad at the start of the season. We have had tons of players injured. He had to rely on the super short squad, and so it's the card that he's been dealt with. And obviously, if you had a couple more players in his hand, we didn't have necessarily a big transfer window. I do think that the squad management could have been a little better, but if that's just me nitpicking on his management.
I mean,
It
what are
is.
you
Bro,
saying, Eunice? Yeah, go ahead, Eunice.
yeah, no, my bad, Omar. But the thing is that it is nitpicking because ultimately, like, thus this far, right, bro? If you guys told me that we're gonna be in this position, I would have taken it automatically. Well, we're on technically. The treble is still possible, technically, right? But the thing is this, right? I'm nitpicking because maybe you don't need to start all the French players. You don't have to give them minutes, not all of them. But I feel like there's probably like a group of 5 or 6. I would have at least played Torre and Pau Victor a bit more because Pau Victor in the preseason, if you guys remembered, he was our best player in the preseason, and Torre was very good in preseason. And Torre also in the first third of the season was having performances. I'm like, those two guys specifically should have got minutes. I understand Ansu, he had his injuries. Then after that, he just hasn't played because we've been in super competitive games. And then I understand also even Hector Fort. I remember guys, Las Palmas, not the game recently, the game where we lost to Las Palmas at home, where Hector Fort got his opportunity. One of the goals was really on him. And ever since that opportunity, Hansi Flick hasn't trusted him, which I think is harsh because it's one moment of messing up. But he kind of, you could say the reasoning for and Ansu. But that's why I'm like, Torre and Pau Victor, Hansi Flick, you probably should have given them more minutes, man, earlier. But listen, it is what it is, right? At the end of the day.
And that's where Jack point right there, right? Because Hafed, you said something about, he should have used some of these Flint players much earlier. Do you think that in like games where we were like, Elias mentioned, like where we were dominating, like, I even remember in the games like the Girona game when we were 4-1 up, right? When we were 3-0 up against Osasuna, right? And we're basically, the tie is over, like 20, 15 minutes to go, right? Do you think that he shouldn't have maybe, given more trust to like some of those Flint players and say, listen, well, you're not a part of my plans, but come on, show me something so that I can see if I can rely on you in some of these games that are coming up.
At the end of the day, Flick's the one that sees all these players week in, week out in trading on the pitch behind the scenes. We don't. We don't know what goes on, but it's quite clear that Flick has his 15, 16 core players. Like you just mentioned, Ford coming in has one mistakes. Look at the 10,000 billion mistakes Gerard Martin had in that first 3 months. He was top 5 worst Barcelona players I've seen in my life in that first.
You know what, Barcelona, I'm sorry to cut you off. Bro, this, hey, Omar, real quick. You know what it is?
You remember? Well, hold on, Eunice. Do you remember, Hafed, when we did our show, right? The Barca show, me and you, right? And we were talking about him when he signed the contract. We said he was like one of the worst players we've seen, bro. Bro, ever since Alejandro Balde has been injured, this guy, bro. Oh my day. Bro, I'm like, yo, why is he not playing head to foot? I'm sorry, man.
I
That
think
gave
he
me
just
this
doesn't
good
fancy Hector Fort at
he's
left
worth the
back.
point.
There's a reason why he chose Jordan Martin ahead of Alex Bailly in preseason as well when Alex Bailly was playing at right back as well. I guess he just doesn't really fancy Fort at left back for some sort of reason. I don't even think we've seen Fort at left back under Flick. Maybe we've seen it once, but he only, of course, the minutes that Fort has gotten this season have all been because Jules Koundé was late for training. That's pretty much the only time he
yeah.
gets to play. So
There it is. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what Jared Martin does in training. Like, I don't know if he's like Roberto Carlos in training or something like that, or he's like R9.
He must be, bro.
Because,
He must be,
bro, like, it doesn't make sense. Unless this guy's like lacing every, free kick practice into the top corner. I don't understand it, to be honest. Because in game, he's had, bro, at least 5 out of like the 10, 11 games that he's been trusted haven't been that good. Even the Celta game. Not directly on him, but some of the goals on his side. You can always criticize him to do better. So it is what it is, though, bro. 10 more games, and that's about it. The season's over.
Yeah, man. Listen, I just hope we can survive. Listen, please, man. All I pray to God. I mean, this is the only thing I only pray to God, man. Please, God, if you can answer one prayer for me, just don't give me any more injuries. I can't deal another.
I use all my
injury,
prayers,
man.
especially when the World Cup, man. I'm tapped out. I think
Yeah.
Bro, I beg.
I'm cooked at this point.
Nah, bro, I'm telling you, man. Listen, if we have one more injury into our core team, we're done. We're done. It doesn't
What it
matter.
is? Omar,
I do agree with
Omar,
that. I do agree with that.
I said this. I legit said these 4 players, if they're out, I think we're cooked. I think if it's Yamal, Pedri, Rafinha, or Dani Olmo, because I'm going to be real. I don't care if Olmo hasn't had the season of Yamal or Rafinha or Pedri overall.
Doesn't matter. That's the thing with Omo. Even though the thing with Omo is Omo hasn't been fit. But when Omo has been fit, he's arguably been what?
He's
some of the
amazing.
best players.
I'll put Pau Barca pretty high in that list because at the end of the day, with Olmo and Pedri, there are replacements for them. Yes, the downgrade is crazy, but there are replacements for Kubarsi and Lamine. There's no replacements. There's nobody with the ball ability of Kubarsi. You talk about Fringe players, by the way. Christensen has not even touched grass this season. I don't think he's probably even warmed up for a game
I
yet.
forgot he was on the team.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think Kubarsi and Lamine are the 2 most players that cannot be injured. Of course, Pedri's our second best player. All this stuff, I get that, but at least Pedri probably coming from Pedri is a downgrade, but not maybe crazy. But Christian Herrera Garcia coming at center back for Pau Kubarsi is a wild one, or maybe Fermin going on the right wing or Pau Victor the right wing for Lamine is a wild one. But I would say we're probably one injured away from being cooked. We have, of course, our left back and striker out injured.
Yeah.
I think one more and we're pretty much.
You know what it is? I'm telling you, the reason why I include Dani Olmo is because whenever Dani Olmo's in the team, let's be real, good things happen. Also, against Inter specifically, the low block, we're gonna need some creativity. Like if we're being honest, it's not a Fermin type of game. Let's be real. He might get a goal, right? But Olmo might have a masterclass versus Inter, and we need that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Just that with Fermin, he's been playing a lot of minutes. He's up match. Fermin last season had 11 goals, 0 assists, and now he has 9 assists and 6 goals. So he's having a very, very good season. He's almost double digits in both goals and assists, which is astounding for a secondary role as well. And also being late first 2 months he didn't play because of the Olympic and the Euros. So I would say definitely probably Kubarsi, Pedri, Lamine, almost probably the most more important players in terms of the system. But with Olmo, there are suitable and multiple amount of replacements. You put Rafinha in the 10, like you mentioned earlier. You could play Torre in the 10. A lot of people have been, preaching to have Lamine in the 10, but for me that makes no sense. We have no wide men. Maybe in the future. But I think with Olmo we can survive. But I think he'll be very, very big for the Inter game for sure.
This is the thing, though.
You were about to say something, Eunice.
No. I mean, in regards to that, I agree. I'd potentially even throw Balde in there, because I think the importance that he has on that left hand side, I think is vital. I think just in the manner of profile, Javier Martin is not a Alejandro Balde, and Alejandro Balde, he adds so much on that left hand side.
Yeah.
And so in regards to profile, yes, for example, let's say the Dani Olmo goes down, but we do have necessarily some players who can fill in that gap. I think, for example, in the left back position, I don't think we have anyone who can replace Alejandro Balde. And I ask you guys this, of course, we want to go for that treble. Obviously, we want to win all 3. But if necessarily Barcelona they were to lose a competition, I don't know what I don't know because the Copa del Rey.
Copa del Rey.
And
Copa
that's a
del
throw
Rey.
up. The Champions League, we can lose that as well. Inter, they're a very respectable opponent and everything. But if Barcelona, if they were to necessarily say that win 2 out of the 3, maybe a La Liga, maybe a Copa del Rey, maybe a UCL, and I don't know, and Super Cup.
Give me the UCL.
How do you guys see the season as a whole?
Hey man, I said this season if we win one trophy, success. So we've already won one. So to be honest, I think we're already in like.
No, see, this is the thing. This is the thing you gotta understand, bro. With new information, we reassess.
No, but like, what if, let's say, like, in the last press conference, if you offered us, Champions semi-final, top of La Liga, Copa del Rey final at this point in the season, we own it, taking it, right?
Hansi Flick's first season has been 10 out of 10. It doesn't matter what happens at the end of the season. For me, he has a 10 out of 10 season because I did not expect us to be anywhere near where we are right now. I expected let me tell you guys, my objective at the start of the season was at least let's be in and around the title race, right? I don't expect us to win it because I thought Real Madrid had a better team than us. I thought, listen, let's just see. And in the Champions League, just have a good run. Maybe like a quarterfinals, maybe a quarterfinal. That would be great. You understand what I'm saying, right? And in the Copa del Rey, let's see if we can go for the Copa del Rey because Copa del Rey usually we do well in that competition. You understand what I'm saying? But, bro, we are in April and we are still in all competitions. If you told me this, I would have never believed you.
Hey man, I've seen Barcelona bottle this position before. I've seen us succeed in it. I think to the original question, if we win any of the one at least, I'd be happy. Any 3, so that means you win at least a double in his first season. I think what will happen is that we're going to win 2. I don't know which 2, but I think we will win 2 and lose 1. But as long as we win one of the 3, I'll be content. To be honest.
To be honest with you, I want the league and the Champions League. I will sacrifice.
We've never won the Champions League without winning La Liga before.
Yeah,
that's my point. Wait, are you sure we haven't? Did we win? Wait,
the 5 times we won the champion. The 5 times we won the champion.
It's because like Barcelona, they were that type of team that when we win the Champions League, we are by far the best team in the world. It just simply is that Barcelona.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. When Barcelona have like the regularity in the league, we do well in the Champions League. It's simple as that. But Barcelona, they are that type of the team that they need to play better than the opponent by far in order to lift the silverware.
Not only won every time we won the Champions League, we won La Liga. If we win the treble this season, 3 of our 6 Champions League trophies would come with treble.
Trebles, that's insane.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
You know what I mean? That's some crazy stuff.
In the history of football, I think only 2 teams have done trebles more than once. That's us and Bayern Munich, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
And nobody else has done it. Like treble, people don't realize. And I always do this debate with Madrid fans because Madrid fans will always ask me. Every time like I go to like Madrid fan TV, they always ask me. They were like, "Would you rather do the 3P or the treble?" I said, "I would do the treble all the time." They said, "Why?" I said, "It's because the 3P." You're winning the Champions League this year. You can sacrifice all the other competitions to win the Champions League and do it to time. That's what you guys did. That's why you guys won 3 Champions
League.
Yeah,
in 2018 they did that. In 2018.
Exactly. That's what you guys did. In 2018, you guys went
in their 3P of the Champions League, we won the double twice.
and Omar, let me add this. In 2018, I could have, I won't swear, but if I remember correctly, they were by a landslide, like second. They might have even been third, like in La Liga.
We beat them by 19 points. Yeah,
it was 19 points. I was it's at least 15.
Valencia and Atletico were ahead of them at some point in the table. I think in January it was between Barcelona and Valencia who was going to win the league. No, they were nowhere near the title.
And don't forget, this season, boys, it's quadruple. It ain't treble. We don't forget the Super Cup in January. Since the Super Cup got moved, early, we're gonna be the first. No, we talked about you talked about treble and sextuple. We're gonna be the first to win the quadruple. I'll put that in retrospect as well.
Listen, I am shameless. You don't understand me. You don't understand,
hey, Super Cup now being in January, like Flick mentioned, it brings a lot of motivation, encouragement. We of course saw that a lot with the Carabao Cup in England, but no other team had our trophy in the season. And of course, with the Saudi deal, Serie A moved their Copa. Super Cup into the January, so did we as well. Ligue 1 also have their Coupe trophy or something like that in January as well. So now it's kind of like quadruple. Now every team now fights for 4 trophies. So
hey, listen, I'm shameless because recently I was actually debating Football Carnage on that because he was trying to say if the Super Cup is like Copa, the Copa España is like big trophy. I said, listen, it's basically the community shield version of the Spanish version of this community shield.
No,
That's what I
it's
call
a
it.
bit higher than community
But
shield.
let me tell you right now, Hafed, if we win the treble plus that trophy, I don't care, bro. I would be shameless. I'll be like, hey, no, we did not. We are the
With
first club.
Super Cup, I think is definitely below Copa del Rey, but it still has big importance because you're playing a mini tournament in the middle of the season, and 9 times out of 10 you're facing Real Madrid. I think each time we've done it, we faced Real Madrid, but once, which was the one we lost in the final to Athletic Club. I think we played Sociedad in the semifinal, so it has big importance, and we saw how much it meant to Madrid last season when they beat us. We saw how much it meant to us when we beat them this season as well. So. And again, when we beat them, it kind of derailed their season and boosted up us. So it has definitely importance for sure.
Absolute facts. Because when Real Madrid won the Super Cup last year, when they embarrassed us 4-1, they went on to win the Champions League and the league. This year, maybe we could do that. And the year that we actually won the Super Cup last time with Xavi, we won the league. So good things happen usually after you win the Super Cup. Also, the Super Cup is definitely above like a community shield, bro, because like you have to win something. Right? Typically, it's the Copa del Rey finalist, the 2 Copa del Rey finalists, and the top 2 in La Liga. So it's not like, it's not just like any 4 teams. Like it's like you had to have a somewhat good season to even qualify. So that's what I kind of.
Listen, it's great, bro. I don't care what people say. People might listen. This is what Chesney did during his Champions League press conference when the guy was down at the He said 4.
The Spanish media very old school. They like to just focus on the main 3.
Hey, listen,
we're on that bus parade. We have that Super Cup there as well. Don't worry.
Bro, I want it there. I want to bring all 3.
Here's another prediction for you, by the way, as well. If we win the league and Champions League, and Real Madrid win the Copa del Rey, I guarantee you they'll do a parade for that. They'll get on the bus and they'll do it again.
Throwback.
Watch.
Bro, this might sound sad. I forgot what winning the UCL even feels like. Like I want. That's why I'm like.
How old are you? Have you seen us? Have you seen us win it before?
Yeah. I mean, bro, the second season I started watching, we won the treble.
Oh, so lucky. Knocking out lucky. You've been through the hard times. So I respect it.
Bro,
he's been through the hard times.
Right? We've won 5 Champions Leagues in our history, if I'm not mistaken, right? We won 5.
Yeah.
I've seen 4. I've seen 4 out of the 5. I saw the 6.
Wow.
Which was the year. There was 6-1. It was the year I started, supporting Barca. My first year as a Barca fan, we won the Champions League. In 2009, when we won the sextuple that season, right? When we were like, best team in the world, right? Without a doubt, nobody could touch us. 2011, I saw it, and 2015. Listen, 10 years. And look, I've said it before, man. We have, the last 10 years have been, ever since we won the Champions League, we've been to Champions League hell. Let's remember, guys. The comebacks again with being embarrassed by PSG. I know we brought it back, but being embarrassed 4-0 by PSG. We should never forget that first leg. We should never forget against Roma, against Liverpool, last season against PSG. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Bro, man. He's been through more hard times than good times.
We have been, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm like even.
Exactly,
you know what it is? You know what it is, Omar and Barcelona?
Embarrassments in Europe the past few years, bro. We deserve, and also not to mention back-to-back group stage exits. Come on, man. Let's not forget we've had our fair share of embarrassments in the Champions League. Like we deserve this. If we win the Champions League, bro, nobody's gonna talk to us, man.
You know what it is? It's just that
bro, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. If we beat Inter, I'll be confident of winning the Champions League.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I believe that, but I have to say this, right? Omar, I do think that, like, I just, like, from all what I've been watching, y'all said, like, I've watched more hard times than good times, which is kind of true. You could say that. The thing is, like, bro, I've always known, as growing up as a Barca fan, the league's our competition. The league is our competition. So I'm like, yo, that's our trophy. I just can't imagine us not winning the league, especially when we're in a good position. Usually the years that we don't win the league, we're usually very bad. You know what I'm saying? We're like third and then maybe a far distant second like last year, So I just can't imagine us not winning the league. The Champions League, Copa del Rey, they're the 2 that I'm like, I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah. I think Champions League, if we get to the final, we'll win it, whether it be against Arsenal or PSG.
I'll take it.
I'll be very, very confident. Barcelona have never lost a Champions League final, so
exactly. This is.
I don't think it'll start now too.
Hafed, you'll be more. We will be more calmer because we did not want to see the Madrid El Clasico final.
The only final that I would not be confident going to the Champions League final would be Real Madrid. Like in the sense that probably it's 50-50 no matter what. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
By the way, big up to Tino. He said both the men's and women's are going for the treble. Imagine if the women's do the treble too. Like, bro,
they did treble last season.
Yeah, exactly.
Undisputed best in the world. Nobody will be able to talk to us.
Yeah, the
But I tell you
Barcelona's
this,
women
I
team
was
have been
saying this
like by
earlier.
far the best.
I was telling you this earlier, right? And this is the point I was getting to when I talked about the treble and doing the 3P. See, the 3P, like I mentioned, you can sacrifice other trophies to do a 3 Champions Leagues in a row and just focus on one competition. It takes a level of mentality and grit to go for every single trophy and say, bro, we're going to give it our all. The year we did the sextuple, right? There was a reason why everybody saw that achievement as incredible. Because at the end of the day, it's one thing winning the league, doing a double, doing a treble. But bro, we were the only team in history to walk into every single competition that we were in 09 and win it. We were the first. Nobody else ever did it before us, right? We were the first team. Every competition we were in, Barca won. You understand what I'm saying? And look, at the end of the day, we have already won the Copa, Super Copa de España. We are in a cup final right now, right? We could potentially win that. Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not saying that we're gonna do this except obviously we can't because we are not in the Club World Cup, right? And thank God we're not because
I don't care about it.
I'm not trying to watch it.
Yeah, I'm not. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Pedri's gonna get injured if he plays that. Like Pedri's been so
Nah,
not
bro.
injured.
No, listen. No, they can worry about that tournament. But listen, I quickly want to talk about this very quickly before we do wrap up. I appreciate every single one of you guys, man. 31 people in the building. Smash that like button, guys. Big up to every single one of you guys, man. I hope you guys have been entertained by this show, guys. But look, obviously, we just talked about it a little bit, but I do want to ask you guys, right, very quickly. Mallorca is not going to be easy. I know you just mentioned 6 players out, suspensions, all of that. That's all great, but good thing is it is at home, right? We're playing. This is at home.
Yeah,
right?
we're at
home. This is a home game. Okay, so I'm just gonna tell you right, what I would do personally, right? Because we do have a cup final, and I think that Hansi Flick, whatever we think of the cup final, I think he does want to win the cup final. He wants to win every trophy, right? I think that's the kind of mentality that he has. You understand what I'm saying? Like, think about this. Let's analyze for 1 second, guys. Hansi Flick is potentially about to do another treble in his first season as a coach for a club. Because he did it for Bayern, remember, in his first season. That year that they beat us 8-2, that was his first season, right? And he did a treble. So if he does another treble, he'll be the first manager to do two trebles, right? Oh yeah.
No, Pep did it with City.
Pep did a treble, but I'm gonna be shameless and say, listen, if Hansi Flick does the treble this year, I'll be like, listen, he did it in less than 5 years.
Not the treble, man. The quadruple.
Quadruple, first manager to ever do the quadruple. We are shameless.
No, honestly,
it's not shameless. It's facts. No,
honestly, no.
I don't care, bro.
You know what it is? No. If Hansi Flick wins a treble, I'll be real. This treble, I've seen it. It would be, bro. It has to be our most impressive treble. If you look at the squad list, the roster.
100%. I made a video about it because his this treble, if he wins it, is very similar to the one against what Pep did in sextuple 09. Because Pep came in, big rebuild, a lot of players left, not too many signings. Only one big signing, of course, was Dani Olmo. Pep was Dani Alves at the time. Trusted youth, of course, Casado, Lamine. Kobarsi. At that time, he promoted Busquets, promoted Pedro, moved Messi to false 9, gave more of a role to Iniesta as well, who was kind of low key, not a squad player, but was kind of in and out of the starting 11 a lot. So both are the same wavelength, but of course, with the Spanish Super Cup being in January, I do give more emphasis on Flick if we go on and win, especially with the schedule being so hated, extra 2 games in the Champions League as well. So I would say it's definitely tougher. Whether we play better football now comes down to everyone's opinion and stuff, but I would definitely give the edge to Flick with the extra.
I would say it's just incredibly it's insane because like you look at the other trebles, like the last 2 trebles we won, Lionel Messi was in the team. Like with all due respect, we do not have a Lionel Messi.
Because here's the thing, right? Even in 2008-09, right? I hear everything that you're saying, Hafid, but here's for me the difference between the 09 season, 08-09 season, and this season, right? Is that I think that the squad we had then, even though, yes, you just mentioned like guys like Iniesta might have been squad players at the time, but you think about around that time, and you know what is so insane when you really think about this, guys? I think this is not even mentioned. In 2008, Spain won Euro 2008.
Yeah, they did.
And the core of that team was the Barça team.
Yeah.
Right? And then guess what? The year after we did the treble, who just won the Euros this past summer?
Enough with the freaking comparison. Every year there's something, man.
Yo, listen, man.
That's so true, though.
Hey, I'm
That's so
not
true.
listen, man. Stars could be aligning. Just saying, bro. Hey, listen. But look. With all seriousness, right? I'm gonna be honest. As far as the squad is concerned, I think the Hansi Flick would probably. I think Omo might probably start in the game against Mallorca. I can see him starting in that game. Could he maybe bench Rafinha in this one? Do you see him maybe resting Rafinha for the final?
No, here you rested Rafinha too much after coming back from the break. I think he's gonna play. I
Yeah.
hope he doesn't start again.
Rafinha.
I hope he doesn't start Daniel Olmo. I would start Daniel Olmo for the cup. I don't want to risk it because he's that
Yep.
You
important
want to
now with
start
Lewandowski out injured. I wouldn't start him. I hope he doesn't, but he might.
okay,
Like
then
you
start
think,
Gavi in the midfield. Then start Gavi there, man. I'm sorry, man.
probably.
I
Yeah.
don't want to sit on him. Start
Yeah.
Gavi, right? I think he's gonna start Pedri for sure. He could potentially bench De Jong and bring back Eric Garcia, because to be fair, Eric Garcia has actually not been bad when he's actually started in this defensive midfield. You understand what I'm saying, right? So
Yeah.
he could start him there. Ferran Torres definitely he's gonna be the number 9. Guys, I actually forgot. Thank God I actually remember this. What do you guys say? Do you guys think that maybe Hansi Flick should expel? Because he tried this in a game and it actually worked out well. Right? Do you guys think that he should potentially play Dani Olmo in the center forward role? Because he did it in the
Real
in the,
Betis. Real Betis.
in the Betis game in the Copa del Rey, and he cooked in that area.
Yeah.
I
that
mean,
was
what do you
one of
guys
the
think?
best
Do you guys think he should try it potentially?
I think, you know what? I was gonna say I would save that for Inter. I think that I don't know about Madrid if it would work, but you know why? I genuinely think that you get one guy at Olmo who's gonna press more, he's gonna run more than or Robert Lewandowski, right? And I think that would just work. I don't know. I have a feeling that it might work. It's good though, because Olmo, he gives you like the best of both worlds, where he's gonna get into goal scoring positions, not all the time, right? But he gets into a few, right? Like we seen the other day against Celta, and then also almost kind of like a little bit with Pedri, where he has vision to find the pass also. So I would definitely try it. Maybe 2-3 games left.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, listen, that's why this game. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, in regards to Olmo, the games that I'm starting him are simply the games against Atletico Madrid and the games against Inter. Simple as that. Those are the games in which I'm starting Dani Olmo, because I think he's going to be absolutely
integral.
pivotal. Our season is basically going to be decided by, I would say, a couple players, showing up. He's going to be that important. I'd start Ferran. I think it's going to be the same lineup for the next 2 weeks or something. I don't see much rotation.
Ansu, man. Do you guys see him bringing
Absolutely 0% chance that happens.
Yeah,
wish.
I don't see that happening either.
If we're up
I don't see it
3-0,
happening.
I wish, man. But
What
honestly,
about the defense? Do you guys see him bringing Araujo back in this game?
I can see that. I genuinely can see that.
I think the center backs are well rested, and we also have the game coming up pretty quickly. So I don't think he will like everyone's been saying. I think he's going to keep pretty much the same team. Maybe a couple of changes here and there, 1 or 2 at the absolute most. Again, when you're at this point in the season, it's important for these players to keep on playing as well, to keep the sharpness and rhythm going. When they don't need rest, of course, they're fatigued and they're tired, then of course they should be rested. But 9 times out of 10, they tend to be all right.
Yeah, but I think Omar, that's a good point. I think that Olmo false 9, I think that might cook versus a low block. That's what my guess would be.
No.
I low key disagree. I think the reason why I worked against Betis was because it was an open game, because it was a cup game. It was around 16 of the Copa del Rey. That's why it worked. I think in a low block, Ferran Torres will be important. He's going to be basically a dummy player against a back 3, where he's just going to be occupying a lot of the spaces and trying to make space for Rafinha and Lamine. And of course, almost just too good at the 10. So you don't really want to take him out there as well. Of course, if Lewandowski is injured, right, so you have to look at other options. But like you guys mentioned, he only used it once this season against Betis, and it cooked. So maybe he's going to keep it in the locker. Maybe he's just going to pump fake, the other team saying, I might do in this game. I might do in this game. Just never do it. I think also it will 99% probably come down to Ferran's form. If Ferran's up top, scoring goals, playing well, he won't change it. If he's out there doing poor, we're desperate for something, the fans start calling for it, that's how he'll change it. So I think it really comes down more so to Ferran than, system and opponents and stuff like that.
Okay. I mean, so very quickly, guys, I do want to ask you guys for a prediction for the game. I'm gonna start with you, Elias. What are you saying about the game against Mallorca scoreline? What are you saying?
I see like a 2-0, a 3-0, something like that. Or potentially even I can see even Barcelona seeing 1 goal. I'm going to 3-1. I'm going to 3-1.
3-1. All right. What are you saying, Hafid?
On the contrary, I don't see Mallorca scoring, as they have none of their attackers fit. A lot of their outlets are injured in Maffeu, Mojica, the wing backs, Morici, the striker, Kyle Laren has an okay record against us. I think he scored with us against Valladolid, but we were already champions at that point.
Canadians finest, man.
I would say probably a tight game, a 2-0, 3-0, something like that. I think we'll keep a clean sheet. Just really comes down to when we score. Again, if it goes later on, it'll probably be like a 1-0 win. I think the game last season at home was a 1-0 win when Lemmy scored that banger.
Yeah.
So it depends on how the game goes. If we get that early goal like Fernand did against Celta, I think we'll be okay, like 2-3-0 cruise win. But if we don't, it'll probably be like a tight 1-0 win in the end.
All right.
Yeah,
What do
I
you think,
agree.
Eunice?
I agree, man. I'll probably say 2-0, man. We might get a third. I think we'll get, like, the games, like, it's 2-0. You might get, like, a 90th minute +1. You know what I'm saying? One of those goals if it's 3-0. But I think for the most part, it's going to be 2-0. I think, man. But I just want to see a good performance. Obviously, the win is important, but I just want a little bit of confidence going into some huge games, man.
Yeah. I mean, most definitely. But yeah, so the Copa del Rey final is this Saturday, this Saturday
This
coming, right?
weekend.
Yeah, it's this weekend.
All right. So we're gonna actually, I'm gonna.
Oh my god, man!
I mean, okay. So my scoreline for the game again. I mean, I will do a match preview, by the way, guys. For those of you guys who are watching, I will do a match preview for the Mallorca game coming out tomorrow, guys. And I'm sure these guys. I'm sure you have it. Have you already done a match preview on your channel yet?
No, I'll do it tomorrow after
All right.
the
So yeah,
press
you do a match preview. I'm sure. Barça podcast, you also talk about the game too, and so will you, Jonas. So make sure you guys go subscribe to these guys, and make sure you guys go and see their full analysis of what they think the game's what's gonna happen in that game against Mallorca. But listen, we gotta get into it because by the time we do the next show, it will be after the Copa del Rey final. So we could either be celebrating as the second trophy in the bag, or just talking about learning from our mistakes and doing better. But yeah, man. Look, I'm not gonna ask you guys the lineup because I don't know what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen during the Mallorca game? So I'm not gonna ask you guys the lineup. But quick predictions, Elias.
Oh,
what do you
predictions.
think?
Predictions.
Yeah,
I'm actually gonna not give a prediction. Just for the final. I'm not gonna give a prediction for the final. I'm not gonna give a prediction for the final. But I do think it's gonna be a difficult game. With the final against Real Madrid, against your rival, form usually goes out the window in those type of occasions. I see Barcelona confident. I'm confident that Barcelona can get the victory. It won't be easy. I'm seeing a lot of Barcelona fans thinking that we're just gonna blow Real Madrid out of the water. I don't know about that necessarily.
These guys haven't watched enough Clásicos in their lifetime, bro. We have. So
Yeah, exactly. El Clásicos, they're always contested. They're always difficult. I'm confident in a Barcelona victory, and I think we'll get over the line. Simple as that.
All right. Oh my God. Jonas, I know you're. I'm sorry. Before I get to Jonas, Hafed, I know you're trying to run away from it. Don't run away from the smoke, man. What are you saying about the game against Real Madrid, bro? Don't bust it, man.
I think it comes down to Madrid getting lucky or not. I think, of course, we're the better team. I've seen 2 El Clasico Copa del Rey finals in my lifetime. We lost both of them.
Oh.
So,
Oh God, yeah. We have a record.
I think since everyone thinks we're gonna batter them, I think it's gonna be a tight game. I see it like 2-1 Barca win. I do think though the longer the game go, the favorite it does go for Real Madrid. If Ancelotti's got balls and he benches one of Vinicius or Mbappe, I'll be scared. Like if he plays the system he played today against Bilbao, I'll be scared. If he plays that traditional front 3, I think we'll be fine. But again, Madrid will only win because of our own mistake. High line, catch us out, lucky goal, set piece. I cannot see Real Madrid like look at the 2 goals they scored against us: counterattack and then a free kick this season, right?
Yep.
I don't see them scoring an open play. It'll be some sort of dodgy set piece, dodgy penalty, counterattack. I am confident we're gonna win, but like everyone's saying, it's Clásico. You never know, 50-50. I think it will be a tight game. I don't think we'll be. If we beat them 5-0 or 6-0 or something like that, something crazy like a 4-0, something like that. No, I might be. The quadruple was already in the bag at that point. So I think it'll be a super tight affair, like a 2-1 Barca, 1-0, 3-2, like by 1 goal for sure, in my opinion, as of now. Especially with us not having Lua or Balde for that game either.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But
Oh, I forgot, man. If Jordan
Barcelona.
Martin starts the game, we might be cooked. Jordan Martin against Rodrigo, man. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, NJ said it right here, man.
It would be so cold from Flick. He just starts Fort for that game, like RKO out of nowhere, and then Fort draws a master
Oh yeah,
class and win the game. You know
Oh
how
my
nice,
god.
you know how nice that would be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that'd
like,
be
oh
sick.
guys, I've been saving Fort for the Clasico final. You know,
I didn't play him the entire season, but for this
It's-
match, I trusted him.
I see a lot of people say like, oh, put Inigo left back, then Aduhunko Barca center back.
Oh no.
It's
Nah.
too.
Nah.
No. I mean, the idea is not bad, but like I said, we're at a point of season now. There's no room to tinker and try stuff. Like the false
No.
nine, right? We've done
That's
it
my
once.
point.
I don't think Flick will, do it again because of Lewandowski's injury because we haven't, practiced with it. It's not the time you have to tinker and try new things. That's September to December. So I think it's either Fort or Gerard Martin. Will one of them have to do a job against Rodrigo. That's why if Ancelotti is smart, he goes with the narrow formation, attack us from the middle, leave Fort open. I'm not giving him the blueprint to beat us, but
Listen,
it's just
just play the diamond, bro. We'll absolutely cook them if they play the diamond. I hope it goes for that. But Jonas,
But-
what do you say, man? Are you more confident than Hafed in the game against Madrid?
whoa, I'm confident. I'm just saying it's gonna be a tight game. That's all.
Yo, one of the comments said,
Hey.
"Show some chest, bro."
Yeah,
But
okay.
listen,
Hey man,
I will show some chest, bro. I think that honestly, you know what? I feel like that if we don't smash them, it might be like a 1-1 Madrid win, or we smash them. That's why I genuinely think.
What is that on pens?
Yeah, I feel like if Madrid wins, it's gonna be 2-1 or it's gonna be penalties, some dumb way they're gonna win. That's the only way I see them winning. Otherwise, honestly, I think I could see a 4-1. I'm more confident. I said it to like Will from Football Corners. I said, bro, I'm scared of Osasuna, Mallorca, Getafe's more than you guys because based off performances, my team has showed me that Mbappe is not going to press. This guy's not going to press. It's going to be easy for us to play our game, but it's just the counterattack. That's really it. I think we're gonna win though, probably like 3-1, bro. Like if I had to say a score prediction, 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, right? I'm not like a lot of these Barca fans who are just looking at Madrid because they just conceded 5 in 2 games against Arsenal and thinking, yes, in the bag. Listen, guys,
they are.
I've watched. Listen, let me tell
I
you.
kind of
something.
feel
I've
like
watched-
before you go quickly, Omar, I kind of feel like how we were last season. The rules are kind of reversed. Madrid are not, they're not playing the best football last season, but they always got the results, right? They went, and won everything. We were kind of a team that was a bit techie, but we were just absolutely capitulated. It's just kind of role reverse. Like last season, I thought that we can definitely get a result against Madrid if X, Y, and Z happens and this and that. The stars are aligning, the moon is full the night before. We can win it because that's what Madrid are kind of saying now. Just look at their performances this season against any top team: Liverpool, Milan, Arsenal, even City.
Yeah, they've struggled every big game.
They're just not that good, especially with all the big heads and the star players in the team. That's why I say if Ancelotti picks an actual team and not players, they can do a job and a half.
This completely changed. We will win if it's the Mbappe, Rodrigo, Vinny. If it is that diamond with of like not even Vinny, it might even be like honestly the best way for Madrid to win is the Mbappe, Rodrigo, and the diamond, right, with Ceballos in there, because that's those specific players. That system is we've seen the best Madrid this season.
That's why I'm happy Mbappe wasn't suspended or injured for the Copa del Rey final because at least against Ancelotti this headache. Because I said when he went and got the red card, people were like, 3-game ban. I'm like, calma, let him play the Copa del Rey final. Because I just think Madrid. I still think, to be honest, I think we beat Madrid regardless, whether they go with a diamond or not. They bench one of the front 3, but
Yeah,
it's easier when they have the front 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, because
I mean, here's the thing. This ties back to what I'm saying, right? See, I believe we're gonna win, but it's like you mentioned, it's very similar to last season. Even though last season they technically did the double against us, neither game was easy for them. You
They
understand what I'm
both won
saying?
in the
They
last
had to
second.
work.
Both last second winners.
Yeah.
Exactly. Both games they had to beat it. They had to win it late. You understand what I'm saying, right? We give them a fight, and this is the thing. I get it. Last 2 games we played and we battered them, but still, guys, like I mentioned, I've watched. Like if you've been watching football for Barcelona, La Liga for almost 20 years, you've seen different La. You've watched La Liga. You watch El Clasico every year. You know how many bad Madrid teams I've seen in my lifetime. And even when we were bad, they were still beating us when we were at our best. You understand what I'm saying, right? At the end of the day, I've seen Barcelona in Xavi's first Clasico, right? When we were nowhere near the title race, beat them 4-0 at the Bernabeu. You understand what I'm saying, right? I've seen us at our worst beat them. I've seen them at their worst beat us. So for me, I'm just saying that I don't think the players are going to. I think Hansi Flick is going to calm the players down. He's going to be respectful. He's going to bring the best lineup. And look, truth be told, am I confident we're going to win? Yes, I am confident we're going to win because I believe we have a better team. I don't think they're playing well, right? Despite everything I've said, I think that they have vulnerabilities that we can take advantage of because we've already shown that we can take advantage of them, right? However, do I see it being a big win like we did the last 2 times? I don't see it. If we do, bro, that would be insane. That would be absolutely like I've never in my lifetime as a Barca fan watched El Clásicos where we've literally battered them every single time we played them in one season. You understand what I'm saying, right?
It would be historic.
But you know what?
Historic, right?
But Omar,
Because
I
think about this, right? We still have 2 Clásicos to go. So there's this one coming up in the weekend, and we have one in the league. If we batter these guys, bro, like Ancelotti's legacy is gonna be crazy. I mean, he's already won 2 Champions Leagues, I get it, but brother, like in your last season, bro, you completely pulled your pants down 4 times in a row. Nah, man. Like, I think they're gonna set up much better in this game, right? I can see us winning. I'm gonna go like a 3-2. I can see a
That's
scoreline.
very realistic.
Too many goals, man. I don't know if I can handle that.
You know what it
It's
is?
gonna be crazy. It's gonna be hella entertaining, bro. The El Clásicos, to be fair, don't get it twisted. The cup finals, we played them in the cup finals, right? We've lost. It's been entertaining. Even the 1-0.
Yeah.
Remember, it was back and forth until Ronaldo scored the winner in extra time.
We battled them that far. They got some lucky ass header, man. Even the other one, Bill just ran around Barca and they scored.
Yeah.
You know what it is,
but
bro. But I'm not gonna lie. I do think I want to say this real quick. Like, I feel like remember the first Clásico, everybody the headlines was the high line of Flick. He kept playing that because remember the offside goals we kept preventing. And everybody's like, do that on Mbappe and Rodrigo. It's gonna be bad, right? And Vinicius, right? And then Flick, first half was very suspect. Second half, elite, right? We scored 4 goals in the second half at their own place. And then we had the second Clásico. It's like Ancelotti's gonna adjust, this time. And then Hansi Flick actually adjusted even more from minute 1 because even if they scored first, we already had like 2 chances before Mbappe scored like in the 4th or 5th minute.
Yes,
right? So Hansi Flick adjusted, right? Because he did the subs in the first Clásico. He adjusted from playing well from the second half on to legit minute 1 in the second Clásico. I thought we played better second Clásico, by the way, right? I'm thinking this third Clásico, bro. What if Hansi Flick does something ridiculous, adjust even more? And
here's the thing, right? Like I'm saying a lot. I think we're at a point in the season now where it's now time for playing around, both from Ancelotti and Flick. There's no way you can make a tactical or a different approach unless you got balls like Pep. That's why Pep's the greatest manager of all time. Champions League final, he just do a random thing and just change stuff last second, completely different from the whole season and still win. It's very much out the norm. I don't think Flick or Ancelotti will change what they do. We could say, they might play dive and Flick might drop the line and not play too high on line. I think both will happen. We're going to play a high line. They're going to play that front 3, and they're going to just hope to God they can get over the line. Because if you look at the first Clásico, they had a few chances that were offside. Again, they're onside. Those goals stand. I think the second Clásico, like you mentioned, was much better. We did, pretty much do well. I think the Mbappe chance and the Rodrigo free kick were the only ones they had. I think Bellingham had a chance in the last second, but Koundé had a great tackle. So they've had 4 chances against us in 2 games so far. So I think it comes down to more than just high line and system and that. It comes down to the teams. Again, they probably, you could say, have better players, and we definitely have the better team. We've shown it this season. So we should get over the line. I think the team's very ambitious. Of course, they got battered 3 times last season. Hopefully they want to batter Madrid 3 times this season too.
Yeah, man.
Continue the revenge tour.
Gotta be at the back of their minds. I mean, Elias, you were trying to say something. What were you trying to say, brother?
No, just in regards to the Clásico, I just necessarily I completely agree with what you guys are all saying in regards to how the outcome can be. I do think that the absence of Lewandowski and Balde, I think those are going to be some big misses because when you
No, we're gonna miss Balde definitely more than Fernand. I think we can cope with Fernand, but Balde will be a huge one for sure, 100%.
Absolutely, because when you're thinking about like the goals that we did score, in both of the games, both Robert Lewandowski and Balde, they were at the heart. I would say with the majority.
You know
of
what?
those
That's
goals.
actually a great point.
Yeah.
Lewandowski scored 2 headers. They both the second one came from a Balde cross. Balde scored in the second game. Lewandowski scored a penalty as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
So
So-
4 of the 9 goals we scored all came from both.
Yeah, exactly. So you're looking at some of the runs. You're thinking about that run in the in the final, where he did score. You're thinking like the crosses that they did put. You're thinking like the shots that Robert
Yeah, Jordan Martin ain't doing the runs. I
converted.
think Jordan Martin has a good ball in him. He's definitely a better passer of the ball. And
I mean, absolutely, yeah. So in regards to that, let's see how Barcelona they do cope without Robert Lewandowski and without Balde. It's going to be two big misses, but I trust Hansi Flick. I trust in the work that we've been doing, throughout the season. We've been able to survive and actually thrive, in the absence of certain players. And so overall, just I think that Barcelona they are the better team, and it's just about showing that onto the pitch. Simple as that.
Yeah, facts,
Yeah,
bro.
very
Listen,
simple, really, very simple.
bro, listen. We gotta win, right? And bro, like you guys probably haven't seen it yet, but watch on Twitter, on Instagram. You're gonna see the stat line once again. Hansi Flick has been undefeated in the final. It's inevitable. 2 days before, it's gonna it's gonna pop up everywhere. But I hope we win. Obviously, Lewandowski. I think the second El Clasico, bro, that was one of his best performances this season. The pass to Lamine Yamal, the way the pass was perfect. I've criticized him at times, but I also give him credit. Right, against Real Madrid, he's been amazing this season, man. I just hope that Ferran could do the same, man.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, absolutely. We'll see, man. Listen, next week, man, we could be sitting here toasting our second trophy in the season already and our second beatdown of Madrid in the cup final. Or, we could be, moving on and just focusing on the next two trophies that are available because literally next week is Champions League semi-final first leg, right?
Man,
So
you got me nervous for this game
man.
now, man. I was chilling today. Now you got me all going.
Hey, listen, no, listen.
Breaking.
Do you watch wrestling?
Huh?
Do you watch wrestling? Do you watch wrestling?
Not really. Not like UFC I watch, not WWE too much.
Yeah,
I know there's a
I'm
WrestleMania
actually
today.
gonna watch WrestleMania after literally when I'm done from here. But listen, at the end of the day, man, look, don't get it twisted, man. I get it, man. El Clasicos usually put people on edge, but listen, that's a week from now. Don't worry about it. We got a game against Mallorca, right? We're probably gonna win that. You're gonna be chilling, and then when Friday hits, then the stress will start on Friday or on Thursday. You feel me? But listen, don't worry, man. Next week when on episode 3, man, don't worry, man. It's gonna be a great episode. I have a feeling, man.
Hopefully,
People's
man.
last words. People are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, people's last words." Oh my days. Well, listen, we'll see, man. But listen, big up to every single one of you guys watching, man. Big up to every single one of you guys. Hey, listen, man. You guys have turned up today, man. Everyone here. I hope you guys have been entertained by this stream, guys. We had almost a full panel. Like we got, my guy, Culers Podcast, guys. I'm sure you're gonna be doing a watch along. Are you doing a watch along on Tuesday? Because unfortunately I'm at work. I can't do a watch along.
Yeah. I will be able to have a watch along for the Tuesday match, and I'm super excited for the weekend. That game is gonna be testing my emotions.
Yeah, man. Everyone. You're not alone. But Barça boy, you'll be doing a preview tomorrow and a watch along. Absolutely, guys. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Barça boy 103. Jonas, are you doing a watch along on Tuesday?
Nah, for the weekend I can. Midweek, unless if it's UCL, I don't. I'm in university. I can't be skipping class. I can't.
I'm at
legit
work.
No,
can't.
lock in.
Yeah, bro, it's not worth it.
That's the thing. I'll be doing a match reaction, instant match reaction after the game. Obviously, the game against Mallorca, but I won't be able to do a watch along. But listen, big up to every single one of you guys. We appreciate you start making sense. He says, "Big up. We need more Barca content creators in this community." Hey, listen, that's why I created this show because there's not enough of this. There's not enough like Barca panels, so that we can all like have our opinions, man. I see like every fan base. I mean, I guess I don't see it much with Madrid fan bases, but I see like in the Premier League, like you see like there's United fan bases, United communities. You have like Chelsea communities. Like that's what kind of motivated me to start this one because I just said, you know what it is, guys, right? There's so many Barca content creators. There's different people that have different opinions, right? And at the end of the day, we're all Barca fans, right? So that's why I was very lucky because I got to meet like so many of you guys, and I was like, listen, man, we gotta make this a thing. Like just start a community where we can all come together, right, and talk about the best club in the world. You understand what I'm saying? All right, and big up to every single one of you guys for turning up today, man. And listen, man, this has been episode 2 of the Culers Culture Show, ladies and gentlemen. This stream will be redirecting you guys to Zero Talk, guys. I will be joining them later for the WrestleMania because I'm actually going to be there. But yeah, man, if you guys watch wrestling, if you guys just want to go and just, enjoy yourself, your Sunday night, guys, make sure you guys go and, smash the like there. Put Omar BYT Raid in the comment section below. This has been the Culers Culture Show with Culers Podcast. Make sure you guys go subscribe. I'll put, if the links are not in the description, I'll put it literally right after the stream is over. I'll put them in and make sure you guys go and subscribe to all of these guys' channels. Culers Podcast, Barcelona Boy 103, and Barça Riyadh, guys. But yeah, man, big up to every single one of you guys. Make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. And like I always say whenever I end these streams, Visca el Barça, Visca el Catalunya, and peace, you guys. Take care.